Welcome to your favorite program, Books and Nooks of Hope. I am your host, Pastor Philip Gai, and today in studio we have very special guest who have come here to help us come to speed with one of the books that we have identified just for you. And today in studio we have our veteran literature evangelist, Tabitha Opiyo. She has been here before. She's been a blessing to us, and God has endowed her with special gifts, and she has been highlighting them to us on studio. Tabitha, you can say hello to the viewer.
Thank you so much for having me. I'm super excited. Hello, viewer.
Thank you so much. And again, in studio, we have Pastor Mark Agui coming to us all the way from Eldoret, where he is a director of literature evangelist. This army, this team that work with books and nothing but books. Pastor Mark, you can say hello to the viewer.
Hello, viewer.
Thank you so much. I'm so glad to host you today. I'm so glad to have you, viewer, watching this program. And today we have chosen a very special book. And the book that we are going to talk about is entitled The Healing Power of Forgiveness. Just to ask Pastor Mark, have you ever forgiven someone who has annoyed you?
Yes, I've done.
Tell us about this experience.
And that experience gave me a peace of mind and joy. Forgiveness is a way of living. If you cannot forgive, if you cannot accept also to give forgiveness, there are two problems here: that failing to give forgiveness and failing to accept the forgiveness. You suffer the same.
Tabitha, have you ever forgiven someone?
Yes, I have.
And what happened?
That person, well, truly speaking, we have had so many cases of somebody hurting me and me hurting somebody.
So it's not once, not twice, so many cases.
Yes. But
Let's give us one incident.
I really want to go into details, but the truth is when we sat down to talk about it, we realized that there was really nothing.
There was really nothing.
Yes. Most of the times we hold grudges on things that we could just talk about and you know, and help. I mean, when you talk about it, you realize that it's nothing.
It just fizzles out
exactly,
by itself. Pastor Mark, why is it so difficult? I see people struggling with this issue of forgiveness across the board. Some people struggling to forgive, some people struggling to accept forgiveness. Why is it such a difficult subject among human beings?
Yeah, Pastor, you know, when you are hurt, there is that feeling that you would like to revenge.
Yes.
And many people think that when I hold on that grudge, I am revenging.
Right.
But they don't know that they are harming themselves. Instead of hurting the offender, you are hurting yourself.
Wow.
So the major thing that make people to not to let it go, not forgive, and also to accept forgiveness is, I want to revenge.
And you think that, you know what, you're big and you have it, you know. The people who, because of status or because of...
Maybe their ego.
Ego is the word, actually.
They're trying to protect their ego.
Yes, they think that if they don't forgive, they're doing the other person a favor. You're not doing anybody a favor when you're holding a grudge.
So as Pastor Mark puts it, you're actually hurting yourself.
You're actually hurting yourself. And as we continue to read this book, we're going to see the benefits of...
When I look at the title, Tabitha, it just says the healing power.
Yes.
What is this about healing that the author puts it, you know, bold, the healing power of forgiveness? Just
like Pastor has mentioned, you heal because there are some conditions that come with holding grudge. The author, Sharon Platt McDonald, says that when you hold grudge, it's like drinking poison and expecting the other person to die. Isn't that interesting?
No, that's interesting, Pastor Mark. You drink poison and you expect the other person to die.
To die, yeah.
Does that happen?
No way.
Pastor, I want to say that people have not really realized the cause of holding a grudge. No, when you don't forgive, it affects 3 parts of your life.
In other words, there's a cost to it.
Yes, there's a cost. What you call the physical, the emotion, spiritual, and that social. So it affects you across.
So it's you who ends up suffering.
Yes, you end up suffering.
And that cost is
physically
heavy.
You are, because the moment I see Pastor Guy.
Yes.
Then the heartbeat
It starts beating.
beating fast. The temperature changes. Then you had something cutting over the stomach.
It's painfully.
Because of seeing that particular person who hurts you. In fact, the author says that you rehearse the problem and you feel as fresh as it was.
As it just happened. Now
And
tell
then
me about this verse.
Okay. I just wanted to add with the spiritual part is you become so judgmental. You will not even pray for this person.
When you hold grudges, you become judgmental.
Yeah, exactly. Because after all, he did this. How are you even going to pray for this person?
That comes at such a heavy cost.
Yeah.
I wouldn't want to hold that.
Exactly.
Tell me about this verse that Sharon Platt has put in there in Colossians chapter 3 and verse 13. And I actually liked the way it was put in the Amplified Bible.
Right.
Yeah.
This is what is written in Colossians 3:13 says, be gentle and forbearing with one another. And if one has a difference, that is a grievance or complaint against another, readily pardoning each other, even as the Lord has freely forgiven you, so must you also forgive.
Even as the Lord has also forgiven you, so must. I took note of the words must.
Yes.
And then freely forgive.
Yes.
Please break that down to us, Pastor.
I want to say that we are the greatest people who have really wronged to our God.
Wow.
If there is a person that we have really hurt most,
It's our God.
it's our God. And he has forgiven us.
Right. Freely.
Look at that. Look at
So
that.
if he has forgiven us, who are you not to
Forgive another one.
And that is why it says that, as you continue reading this book, says that the prayer of a person who is not willing to forgive cannot go beyond the ceiling.
Wow.
So you're actually wasting your time.
You are wasting your time. So if you are praying and you have never
Forgiven.
Yeah, even Matthew says that when you are offering an offering, a sacrifice, then you remember your brother has...
You have a grudge.
Your brother, go reconcile first
Yeah.
Before you bring
before you
offering.
bring that sacrifice.
Is that the aspect you're talking about, the spiritual aspect of forgiveness?
Right. Yeah, you have to just go back and, but again, just like if you don't do it, it's like blocking that person. You know, you're blocking the person in that you can't pray, you can't see anything good in that person.
Even if there's something good in that person.
Haven't you okay, let's be practical. If Pastor Agui has wronged me, even if he says anything funny, it's not funny to me. Yeah, it's like,
because you're holding it.
Exactly. Like he's making a lot of noise. He's not even making anything or saying anything funny.
Sharon talks about some very important points there, like who do I need to forgive?
Right.
There are people that you can forgive and people that you cannot forgive. How do we go about that? How do I know who do I need to forgive?
Forgiveness is not, you have to forgive everybody, including yourself.
Including yourself?
Yes, because we have also done mistakes in the past. And most of the times we hold that grudge. We hold it against ourselves. It has to start with me. I have to forgive myself and forgive each and every person. There's no specific person that, hey, you know what, I'm just going to forgive this person or not forgive this other person.
So does that mean I forgive even those who have not asked for forgiveness?
Correct. You need to forgive everybody. Everybody.
Pastor, also one thing that I've also learned in this is that if somebody hurts you, you know, in my talking, I may hurt you with
even in your talking, yes.
Without knowing. So if I am hurt, then I should come to you that statement you made it hurts me.
Yes.
Right.
And in that way, you are correcting one another. Some of us might be feeling that kind of hurt. I get that hurt, that kind of carrying that burden, but you are innocent.
Yes.
Yes.
So the proper way is just when you wrong me, I should come to you and let you know that you see, my brother, when you talked the other day or when you did this, it hurts.
It hurt me.
Yes.
But at times, you know, okay, that is, I believe he's talking as a pastor. Out there, dear viewer, I'm sure somebody has really got into your last nerve and you don't have the guts to go to approach this person. I think it is just in order probably to take somebody, a friend, So
to go and help you talk about it.
To go and help you talk about it.
Now, one question there Sharon is asking, what if I cannot forgive him? What if I cannot forgive her? How do I handle that?
That is true. She talks about so many things. Allow me to read one that is really means a lot to me. It says, not forgiving someone the hurt they have caused you is like picking up a heavy burden each day and carrying it around with you wherever you go.
So it's like you're carrying a heavy load and walking with it all around?
Yes, that is what you're doing every day because you feel you cannot forgive that person. Another thing is, by carrying a grudge, you enable the offender to keep hurting you.
So if I hold that grudge, that person keeps hurting me?
Yeah, because you're holding.
If I let go of it, I'm not continually hurt.
Exactly. Yeah. And she has given many other reasons which we won't be able to read.
Now, there is this saying that I hear people talk around about that I can forgive, but I cannot forget.
Yes.
How do you go about that, Pastor Mark?
The term forgiveness here is allowing that person who has hurt you, that person who has really offended you, that now you have one thing in common and you've let the bitterness go.
Yes.
That is the forgiveness. But the act always remain in your subconscious.
Yeah.
So,
the act
yes,
that
of course,
offended you
the
remains
offend
in
is,
your subconscious.
it still remain. But if it doesn't hurt you, you've let it go. But if you still feeling the hurt, you have not yet forgiven. So there are two statements that at least people should get to know. Of course, so everything that goes through in your life, it is not easy for you to forget. It's very impossible.
Tell me, Pastor, the things that happened in
your life,
in Rwanda during the genocide,
yes,
between the Hutus and Tutsis, people got real hurt.
Yeah.
Yes.
Even in Kenya, we had the post-election violence.
Yes.
Right.
That was 2007 and 2013.
Yes.
And the people who are hurt.
Yes.
Do you think it's easy, it's possible for people to forgive and forget those things?
This is what Sharon says. It is impossible to forget wrongs that have been committed against us.
It is impossible?
It is impossible.
Did you say impossible?
That is what she has written here. Because we cannot selectively delete events from our memory. That is point number one. Then she says, it is also clear then that we are biologically wired to remember. Now, forgiveness does not necessarily involve a literal forgetting. Forgetting may not be a realistic or desirable goal. Forgiveness involves remembering in a different way.
Remembering in a different way.
Yes, now let me continue. This happens when you recall the incident, but the associated pain is no longer there with the same intensity as before.
So the pain is there,
yes,
but it's not as intense as it was when you were first hurt.
Yes. So if somebody hurts you, are you able to remember it differently? That is why I said, you know, when you hurt me, I will not see anything good coming out from you.
Yes.
But if I'll be able to see something good, yes, he did this and this, but he has 1, 2, and 3 that he can remember. I can get out from him. Yes, he did this and this, but am I able to look at it positively?
Okay.
Yeah.
So actually, it's possible to remember. You just won't forget.
Yes.
But you'll remember, but the intensity of the heart is not the same.
Yes.
Yeah. And then you'll remember differently.
Yes.
Oh, thank you so much. Thank you so much, dear viewer. You're watching your favorite program, Books and Nooks of Hope. And today in studio, we have Pastor Mark Agui and Sister Tabitha Opiyo. And they're helping us come to speed with this book by Sharon Platt MacDonald, The Healing Power of Forgiveness. This is a very interesting book you don't want to miss. So we're going for a short break, but stay tuned because we'll be right back after the break. Welcome back to Books and Nooks of Hope, and today we're discussing a very, very special book, The Healing Power of Forgiveness. We have learned that we may not necessarily forget, but when we remember, even after we've been hurt, we remember differently, not with the same intensity of hurt that we have had in the past. We also have learned that when we carry a grudge, we are actually bearing a big load and walking around with it, and that's not healthy for you, that's not healthy for me. That's why we need to learn how to forgive. Now, Pastor Mark,
Yes.
Sharon talks about when forgiveness hurts. Does it mean there's a time when you can forgive and you're hurt? I thought when you forgive now, you're not supposed to be hurt. What is this about when forgiveness hurts?
Pastor, this is a time when we are actually hanging on the event that happened in your life.
You are forgiven, but you're hanging on the
Yes,
event.
on the event. Somebody messed up your life, but you keep on remembering that thing. So it continue hurting you every now and then. That is actually the kind of forgiveness that you've really forgiven, but the act is still fresh in your mind. That is, it always hurts you. Yes, you've forgiven, but some people say that I've forgiven you, but I will not forget. So that's actually the forgiveness that really continues hurting you.
Then, Tabitha, the question is, have you really forgiven? Because it seems that you're still holding on to this and it keeps hurting you when forgiveness hurts.
Truth is, people heal differently. Some people take days, some people take years. But the beauty about this book, Sharon talks to us on how to deal with this hurt. She explains to us that, for example, when an individual is hurting, we should not rush them to heal. We should talk to them and stay with them, you know, through the healing process. Encourage them. You know, like, if you go through a situation, the way I go through a situation is not the way you're going to go through a situation.
And so we cannot lump everybody into one basket and expect them to heal at the same rate.
Exactly. So Sharon says, acknowledging the individual's pain and staying with them through the healing process will enable them to be supported and strengthened to face the prospect of forgiveness. So even if you're hurting, there is a way that you're going to heal.
Okay.
Yeah.
Now, Tabitha, it looks like, as you are putting it, this is a process that has to be learned.
Right.
How do I learn to forgive? What does Sharon tell us about this process of learning to forgive?
There are many ways that we can learn to forgive. We have also the biblical way.
Yes.
So that when you hurt me, I don't count. Of course, you know, the way somebody like Pastor Gui will hurt me. And remember the other day you did this. I forgive you. Now today you're doing this again. But the Bible does not say that.
We'll be coming back to that again.
Right.
Pastor, how do we learn how to forgive?
Yeah, the process of forgiving is just accepting about what has happened. That is the first thing. That is a process.
You first accept what has happened.
What has happened. Then the other partner also accept that also I wrong to you.
Yeah,
yes.
True.
That is now the process of making the two who have a difference to reason together.
But Pastor, you know that sometimes they don't accept.
Yeah, they don't accept.
Many times we don't accept.
Yes, many times we don't accept. So that's why we say we are having a biblical way, and then we're having that kind of that psychological way of how we can have that kind of forgiveness. Sharon has really given out here that when someone wrongs to you, first of all, you go to him. Point number one. Then number two, when that thing does not happen, you may look for the closest friend of your offender.
A third party.
Third party, a perpetrator. So that at least they
come in between.
Come in between. Then things will work on well.
Okay.
Yeah.
Now, Sharon also talks about this process of moving from bitter to better. Both of you have talked about this bitterness, this grudge that someone holds once they have been offended, once they feel that someone has done something, said something, or even thought about something about them. You know, how do you move from this situation from bitterness to betterness?
I want to say this, Pastor, that even as of both we have experienced that people sometimes they don't greet each other.
Yeah, there are some people who don't greet each other. Yes.
Because they have that bitterness.
Yes.
But once they have reasoned together, that bitterness that restrained me not to greet you, after accepting that forgiveness, and after accepting the first step, you'll see you'll move now from a heavy load. You are now like, you are now less.
You become lighter.
Lighter now.
Yeah.
So you move from that bitterness and now you are going towards
your life
that
becomes
goodness.
much better.
Yes. Why? Because it's a process whereby I have accepted. He has given out forgiveness. I have accepted now.
This is a big problem, Tabitha. There are so many people who are still languishing in the bitterness zone.
Right.
And how do we move with this person from this bitterness experience to become a better person?
We look at the cross. What happened at the cross? Jesus died at the cross. When he died at the cross, we find that the forgiveness that turned that bitterness into bittersweetness. Why? Because if he did not die at the cross, we will not be saved right now. So that dying on the cross for us, to us, we looked at it as bitterness. But then it turned it into a better or sweetness because of the Calvary, because, you know, he forgave us our sins.
Coming to that cross.
Yes.
You see, Christ is hanging there on the cross.
Right.
And all these people who are in the process of crucifying him,
right,
they're insulting him, they're mocking him. They're
so
saying,
bitter.
if you're the Savior, why don't you save yourself? But he's pronouncing these words, Father, forgive them. What's that, Mark? Is it possible?
It is, to human beings, it's impossible. Pastor. It is very impossible for human beings just to go that direction. But through the power of Christ, we can manage.
It's possible.
A story has been given here about what happened in Rwanda, about Alice and Nyamata.
Yes.
You know, this man, Alice witnessed this man killing all his family members.
Yes.
And he spotted and got the real picture and the name of that particular person who really did that kind of crime to him. But when this man was persecuted, Alice took that courage and said, I want to forgive him.
Yeah.
Yes.
It is something that is beyond human understanding. But that process brought a power that is beyond us. That is the forgiveness. That is, Sharon has used the word power. Power is that dunamis.
The story of Alice.
Yes, the story of Alice.
It has been one that is amazing throughout the world. It has been repeated over and over again.
Over again.
She brought this person who actually hacked the husband to death into her own home.
I know.
Yes.
And adopted this as her own son and helped this person's family. That's amazing.
It is.
You say that power is called the dunamis.
Dunamis.
The dynamic power.
The dynamic power.
Now,
it only happens when you recognize the forgiveness that God has done to you.
Yeah.
Tabitha, she calls this the healing power of forgiveness. What is this healing power?
Because when you stop carrying that heavy luggage that we talked about, because, you know, it's a heavy luggage, it's going to even heal you physically. Yes, because you're already carrying it. Sincerely, if I have to carry like a 20 kilogram on me every day.
And walk around with it.
And walk around with it.
It's not a sweet experience.
Exactly. Your body will be tired. But if I put it down, definitely I'll be even healed physically.
Now, Tabitha, you had talked to us earlier on about counting. Let me come back to this. The Bible says 70 times 70.
Right.
What does Sharon have to tell us about this counting?
We should not even, she encourages us not to count whatever wrong that we have done. Considering that we also wrong people. You know, if we look at ourselves that we are perfect and we are the ones who are being wronged all the times, then it will be easy for you to start counting.
Yes.
But if you realize that you also wrong people, then you will stop counting.
So the idea is that we should stop this business of counting.
Exactly.
Pastor Mark, tell us about this 70 times 70.
Yeah, Peter asked
7.
this question to Jesus.
Yes.
How many times should my brother wrong to me?
And I forgive him.
And I forgive him.
Yeah.
And he
70
times
7
in a day. That is to say that you have to forgive as much as possible.
You know, it's like infinite.
Yeah,
it's infinite
you can't
forgiveness.
count. Yeah,
So
you can't count.
By the time you keep counting, you will have lost count. You know, he hurt me, he insulted me, he pricked my nose. You know, you lose count by the time you are 70. And then you want to multiply that by 7. It's absolutely impossible.
Impossible.
So what is Christ saying here?
So Christ is saying is, the principle is this. When someone wrongs you, you have to seek the power of forgiveness. You forgive.
And you forgive completely.
You forgive completely.
Thank you.
That is the real essence.
Now, Tabitha, earlier on, you had talked about, I need to forgive myself.
Right.
I know Sharon talks about being at peace with yourself.
Yeah.
Apart from forgiving others, how do I get to forgive myself and be at peace with myself?
You have to put yourself in the shoe of the person. So just like I mentioned, most of the times we look at others and assume that we are perfect.
Yes.
Yes, but we also have wronged other people, and it's not like little mistakes or problems.
Yes.
We have done bad things, said bad things.
Because we are human. It's human nature.
Yes. And some people have ended up not forgiving themselves, even when the other people have died. Yes.
And so this is what we need to start practicing.
We have to start practicing it start with us.
Okay.
So that, hey, you know what, I have done 1, 2, 3. Because you cannot give something you do not have sincerely.
Yes.
I cannot claim to forgive you while I am holding grudge on things that I have done. And if I forgive myself, I'll also feel light anyway.
You feel lighter.
Yeah.
Pastor,
lighter.
how do I forgive myself?
Yeah, I want to say this, Pastor, that there are some of the things sometimes even we regret. That kind of what you call regret.
Right.
This one happened, you keep on regretting.
You regret.
Then you devalue yourself. I'm a useless person.
You think that you're useless, you're good for nothing.
So when you devalue yourself, those things are called rats that eat your mind.
There are rats that eat my mind.
Yes. If you go to sleep, those rats keep on disturbing you.
So it's better you do away with it.
And many people have just developed what we call ulcers, not because of what they eat. It is because of what is eating them.
What is eating them, not what they eat, but
not
what is
they
eating
eat.
them.
That's a mental problem, whereby every now and then you keep on having a problem. And I want to say that's why the mental part, the physical, what you call the mental part of our life is what drives every aspect of our life. Yes.
So this comes with forgiveness also.
Yeah, forgiveness. And then you have peace of your mind.
And then the author also says that we have to realize that forgiveness comes from God.
Forgiveness comes from God.
Yes.
That's very important.
If we can go to God and ask for forgiveness, many times because we hold that grudge, it's like carrying that heavy luggage, taking it to God and carrying it back with you.
Yes. So we need to take it to God and
let
it go.
Exactly.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much, Sister Tabitha. Thank you so much, Pastor Mark. This has been a very lovely experience here, talking about the healing power of forgiveness. What a wonderful book. In fact, this is a must read for everyone who is watching this program. Pastor Mark and Sister Tabitha has been able to help us come to speed in the ingredients of forgiveness as we find them in this book. You're watching your program Books and Nooks of Hope. And if you want to get a copy of this book, you can dial the numbers that are running under your screen and you'll be able to get in touch with these wonderful people and they'll make this book available for you. Please keep watching Books and Nooks of Hope. Keep finding time to read, to devour, to enjoy the gems that we get from these books. Thank you so much. Keep it Books and Nooks of Hope.